Hello all. We're south of Hartville, Wyoming, on our way to Guernsey, Wyoming, on our way to Denver, Wyoming. We're going to talk about, will they stop? You say, well, who will stop? Well, that's your leftists and your socialists. Will they stop? And this is very key to understand, because I figured something out about leftists and socialists. You have to understand their psychology. The more you understand about their psychology, one, the less frustrated you're going to get dealing with politics and dealing with them. And then two, you really can predict them, and you could, if the Republicans ever had an ounce of brain in them, they could strategize against them and kind of moot or block or defeat the left. So this is more for an academic or philosophical understanding of the left. But they will not stop. This is why I wrote a post, The Liberal Zombies. Because they are, to a certain extent, zombies. They do not stop. We're going to get into it and explain why. Now, to understand it, consider something, ice cream. There's too much, too little. Right? You don't have any ice cream, that's not enough. That's too little. You eat too much, you get fat. That's too much. And it's the same thing with anything with moderation. Too much booze, too much alcohol, you get a hangover. But too little, you don't get a buzz. We can go on and on. Now, you go eat all the ice cream you want. You go get hammered all you want. I ain't going to stop because you're only hurting yourself. However, there's another thing that affects everybody where there's too much or too little, and then not enough hurts society, and too much of it hurts society, and that is laws and regulations. Now, Texas is very interesting, and you can kind of see where they actually love liberty and freedom, because their state legislature only meets once every 2 years. They don't want too many laws. Unfortunately, that's the only anecdote or instance I can think of where the government is purposely designed to meet so infrequently so that there's not too many laws, because they knew too many laws would slow down growth, put innocent people into jail. I don't know why marijuana is illegal or drugs are illegal. You can go the libertarian route. But they knew, hey, if we stop the state, the state, they won't be able to make as many rules and as many laws. Unfortunately, like I said before, that cannot be said for the vast majority of government, state, local, and the federal government, and across the world. Now, what you see in government, 999 times out of 1,000, is people who go into government, typically liberals, want to do something. Have to do something. They have to change something. And they don't realize that, like ice cream and like booze, there is such a thing as too many laws, too many rules and regulations. But this is key to understand about liberals and leftists. It isn't about good statesmanship or being good politicians or doing what's best for the country or the people. It is all about them. That's their career, and they're not going to lie there and go, like, seriously, I had this boss one time. She was dumber than fuck. You want to talk about a person who's responsible for the housing bubble? This cunt was it. She made loans, right? Horrible loans. Horrible. I'm like, what is going on? What the fuck? Try to step. No, one in every 2 loans that woman made ended up going into default. Not delinquency where they're late. De-fucking-fault, meaning like they gave back the company, the bank, the collateral. And that's like worse than delinquency. Delinquency just means you're late. Anyway, where was I going with this? I'm trying not to get pulled over by cops because 30 miles an hour. Oh, all right, that's what I was going with. Sorry. 30 miles an hour. Now, if she had done nothing and not made these loans, not made one loan, but just sat there and thrown darts and played video games, everybody would have been better off. Sometimes it's not always about more loans, more booze, more ice cream, more. Oh, hey, Guernsey, look at this. I think there's a military base out here. So if she had just stopped and not made one loan, the people and the company would have been immeasurably better off. And politicians should know this. They say, there's an optimal amount of laws. If we get too many laws and regulations, then we're gonna choke off economic growth. We're gonna result in unemployment, all that other stuff. But you operate from the premise and principle that these politicians, especially the left, give two flying shits about you, and that's about the people. They're only there to get their egos up, to avoid real work, and to, quote, do something. We have to do something. All these nonprofits, we have to do something. All these people who don't solve the fucking problem, just create new ones. It has nothing to do with the problem. It has nothing to do with governments. It has nothing to do with good statesmanship. It has to do with them jacking off their egos. That's what it has to do with. So they put themselves ahead of everybody else, and sadly, because they're in government, they're in a position of power where we have more rules, more laws, more regulations. And you've seen this. You see it, like the news stories that come out every once in a while, where either it's number of pages being added to the tax code this year, or the number of new regulations coming out, and pick your federal agency. The FDA, the EPA, the IRS, whatever else. It doesn't help society, slows down businesses, throws up hurdles, makes everybody's life more miserable. But you know what? At least they did something. And that is what, it's proof positive that they want. It's for themselves. They don't care about you. Now, this is where you start to get beyond egomaniac and evil. There's a little news tidbit in my backyard over at the University of Minnesota where these 16 college kids, whiny, snivelly liberal arts, I think they're like ethnic study kids, when in protest they occupied the president of the university's office. And they had these list of demands, and I'm just going based off of memory. But among these list of demands, one was that police reports or any campus warnings of crime could not mention the race or the tone of their skin color. Right? Now think about that. Here's a criminal who's doing bad, he don't care, and you're going to put the entire campus, all people of all races and genders and whatever other preferences you have, everyone is now at a higher risk. Just because you can't say, oh, that guy, the white guy had a gun, or the Hispanic guy had a sword. Oh, no, don't tell us who to look out for. Right? The other one, they wanted to force every college student at the University of Minnesota to take a gender studies class, and then they also wanted more funding for more gender studies classes. Now, why they're evil, why this goes beyond egomaniacs, you could say people with egos are evil, but why this goes beyond egomania and turns into evil, is they value themselves more than they value you, just like a politician. But to the point that they're putting your lives in danger. Right? And they don't give two flying fucks about what you want or what you'd like to study or your time. And they think that they're entitled to your money so that you got to pay either more in taxes, more in tuition, so that they can have some make-work university bullshit job in the ethnic studies department for whatever ethnicity it was. And they're going to force you to waste your time and your money paying them, and not just paying them, but bloviating and sucking their egos. So look, everyone's here, they're here for me. But the real one, and this is such insight into these leftists, and you people have got to realize what evil vermin and scum we're dealing with. They don't care about your safety. Fuck you and your safety. Fuck everybody but me. Everybody, the world revolves around me. And that is what you've got to realize about the left. They will net psychology. The world owes them a living. That their egos, that is what is going to never make them stop. They will always stop. Perfect example. The Bryn Mawr, the girls' college out in Pennsylvania, they started accepting, it was all girls, but they said, well, we're going to take transsexual, transgendered, whatever. They opened up the floodgates. They opened up Pandora's box, and without missing a beat, then you get the bathroom debate. Well, sure, I don't know, that was a guy, but now he's in the girls' room, because it's all girls' rooms, at the campus. Although I guess if they have male employees, there's got to be guys in bathrooms. Right? Sure enough, people are, well, what about this? How about the transgender? Do you really think that once they put in pansexual, like imagine there's 36 variants of gender according to these nut jobs at the women's studies departments who got nothing else to do but twiddle their twats. It's going to be even more crass than that. They have nothing else to do except come up with 36 different genders. Can you imagine bathrooms with 36 different genders? You think it's going to stop there? Let's say every university campus put in 36 different stalls for 36 different genders. And then the University of Minnesota says, all right, we're not going to mention, oh, that was the other thing. The University of Minnesota was not allowed to ask about people's criminal. They weren't allowed to do criminal background checks. So like you could have a murderer on campus. Fuck it, doesn't matter because that might be discrimination. Do you think, let's say you gave in to all their demands. Do you think it's gonna stop there? You think they're gonna pick up their bivouac and go home? You think they're going, oh well, they cave into our demands, we're gonna leave now, bye. They're just going to keep on going on and on and on because that is what gives them purpose and meaning in life. That's their agency. Bitching and whining and parasiting off of others. It's not going to end. They are zombies. They want your brains, except not your brains. They just want your financial lifeblood. They want to avoid work at all costs. So much so they'll put in an insane amount, even more calories of energy, bitching and whining and wasting their time than it would if they went and got real jobs. So don't even operate from the premise like, okay, we're going to listen to you. Oh, there's Laramie Mountain. I climbed that. Oh, cool. I know I'm on my... Not a lot of places you can get lost in Wyoming. Not that many paved roads, and they all lead to major cities. Out of the state. Anyway, look. They're not going to stop. And if you give in now, it's just going to be like Danegeld to the Vikings. They're going to come back for more. And it's going to get more tyrannical, more oppressive, more damaging, more threatening, more endangering, and more anti-liberty and anti-freedom and totalitarian over your lives. It is. They will not stop because once you give, and it will go until there's complete control and domination. And then, just like the fucking Marxists, just like the fucking Soviets, they're gonna start getting into your personal life even more than you ever thought. You're too fat, you're too thin, you're too pretty, you're too ugly, your hair's not, I mean, they will get there. Anything to avoid a real job and anything to get them more money and playing the victim card and getting more funds out of other people. That is what their goal is. And even when they get that, even though they'll still be miserable, you are dealing with zombies. There is no negotiation, there's no discussion, there's no reasoning with them. You say, fuck you, no, and you starve them of all the government money and all the nonprofit money. Of course, that's not going to happen. They'll still get their money and they'll still bitch and whine. And like all you cowardly Republican politicians, you won't draw the line and tell them to fuck off and die. But for those of you who listen to my channel, have balls bigger than, Boehner's balls, and you kind of want to understand, and you want to get into it with liberty, you want to understand them and end the argument very quickly. That's it. They're just zombies. They're going to keep going and going and going, and they will not stop until they're dead. I'm not saying to kill them. I'm just saying they're going to die, and then their children or future generations of liberal zombies will come by. But it won't end. That's the whole point. They will not stop because it is laziness and ego, as always, that drives a leftist. So don't give in. Don't listen to don't accept their premise that they're discriminated against, like the fucking whiners over at the U of M, the 16 students, the 16 of stupid. They're all discriminated against. Yeah, like the U of M campus wasn't diverse and they didn't have enough pro policies on diversity or hiring. It's never enough. It is never enough. So don't accept their premise. Don't operate by it. Don't assume any bit of intellectual honesty. You are talking to a parasite. You are talking to fucking monsters. That's all we got. Hope we learned something. Toodles.